Hello and welcome to my little Zodiark video. Zodiark is the final Esper you will fight in the game, probably. It's not necessarily the final. Ultima and Zodiark are approximately the same level, but Zodiark's intended to be done later. There's a few things to talk about. Well, there's quite a few things to talk about before we go in. First off, it is possible to steal the Great Trango from Zodiark. With the Thief's Cuff, it is the super rare steal, so it only has a 6% chance of occurring, and the only way to get here is through the entirety of the special charter shaft, which has quite a few enemies and it's kind of tedious. There is no autosave before you enter the special charter dig, as far as I'm aware. The only autosave is between Phase 2 shaft and special charter shaft. That is the only autosave. So you cannot autosave before the fight, and then just reload that and steal repeatedly to get it. So the method would be to clear out all the enemies in this area so that they don't spawn, and then autosave over there, run all the way up here uncontested, attempt to steal. If you don't get it, rinse and repeat. It's not a particularly great method. I don't think you can RNG it, RNG manip it, but you might be able to. The only other method, however, is the Pharaoh's Subterra, which isn't a particularly great method either, so it's really a toss-up which way you really want to go. I'm going to be showing the RNG manipulation for Pharaoh's anyway, so I'm going to just do a single quick steal. If it doesn't get anything, it doesn't matter. Another thing to note is you cannot get a High Arcana from Zodiark. He, I think, is the only Esper that you can't get that from. And the reason for that is because of the Great Trango. Before, he had a High Arcana as a rare steal and a Mega Elixir as the super rare steal. However, the Mega Elixir is now the rare steal and the Great Trango is now the super rare steal, so there is no High Arcana there. And all of that jazz. The other thing, there's quite a few things that you should do that I will not be doing, because I like to do things the difficult way. First off, you should be equipping your party with black masks. I am not doing that. In fact, she has a white mask. That's the complete opposite. I will not be doing that. The reason you want to do black masks is because Zodiark is the Dark Elemental Esper. He does a boatload of Dark Elemental damage, and it is very, very good to be able to mitigate that completely. You will, however, probably want one person in your party to not be immune to dark damage. The reason for that is because if your entire party is immune to dark, you will actually use Darkja more often, which sounds good on paper, until you realize it has a percentage chance of straight up killing people in your party. This fight is very RNG heavy. If your entire party gets wiped out by Darkja, it makes it much more difficult, as you can imagine. The other thing you will want is not to dispel Zodiark. I will be dispelling Zodiark. Do as I say, not as I do. The reason you don't want to dispel him, he does have Reflect, by the way. It makes it a little tedious because you do have to have Piercing. The reason you don't want to dispel him is because if you dispel his buffs, he begins using Palings. He will put up Physical Paling at low health, I believe. But if you dispel him, he will put up a Magic Paling, and he will refresh that Magic Paling for eternity. He will not stop refreshing it. And once he puts up the Physical Paling, this will make him immune to everything for a period of time. So it's a bit of a bad idea. I'm going to show it because I'm an idiot. Just so I can, mostly. But apart from that, I am a little over-leveled. You will probably want to be at least level 70 though, so I'm not super over-leveled. You can do it at 60 if you have black masks. It'll make it a little bit easier. Apart from that, he's a pain in the dick. So his normal attacks have disease. This sounds great already, doesn't it? His normal attacks will apply disease. He has access to Scathe, unfortunately, which is horrific. He also has Piercing Graviga, which is a bother, but not too bad. He has Banish Ray, which is the dark version of the other Ray attack that I can't remember. Holy Ray, I don't know what it was called. Shining Ray, that's what it was. He also has level 2 Sleep, level 3 Disable, and level 4 Break. He also has access to Greater Barrier, Battle Cry, and limit break. He is one of 2 things in this entire game that has access to limit break. The other one, for those of you who don't know, is the final boss of this story. So that should give you a little bit of a hint as to how difficult this fight can be. Curiously enough, he has no innate augments. I believe he doesn't actually even have safety either. He's just immune to death. I don't think he has safety anyway. As best I can tell, he doesn't have safety, whereas basically everything else in the game has safety, which makes you immune to essentially everything. He might have it, I don't know, but it doesn't really matter. He also has a bunch of conditionals. At half health, he gets Evade Plus. At low health, he gets Anti-Magic, which is renewed. If you have put up Dispel, he gets Magic Wall, which is a different thing. It's not very different, but hey, it is different. If he cannot use Banish Ray, he will have Attack CT 0. I don't know what circumstances will cause him to be unable to use Banish Ray, but it is a thing. After he uses Limit Break and Faith, he gets Magic CT 0, so be prepared to start taking boatloads of damage. Once he uses Battle Cry, he gets normal damage up. That's the purpose of Battle Cry. And he also has access to Greater Barrier, as I mentioned, so reduced damage all over the place. And at low health, so we'll talk about his elemental stuff, because he is the Dark Elemental Esper, but he's got a bit of a twist. He starts the fight weak to holy, as you might imagine. Once his health gets low, however, he will start using shift every time you hit him with his elemental weakness, which will change his elemental weakness around. You, as the player, cannot see his elemental weakness. I believe it's hidden to you. But your gambits can. Your gambits will still function with the full knowledge of the enemy's elemental weakness, even though you can't see it, so you can take advantage of that. He also gets 0 MP costs, you know, whatever, everything does. Not really a big deal. Apart from that, that's pretty much it. Apart from one thing, this is our party. This is the party we're going to be using. This party is now fully buffed, so we'll wait for bravery to go away. There we go. We're going to remove this party from our active party. We're then going to slap Bosch in here, and to just Bosch. It actually doesn't matter who we put in here, but for this case, we're going to slap Bosch in here and call it a day. The reason for this will become very apparent as I walk into this room. And this is, of course, the Zodiark Arena. Once you walk in here, you cannot walk out of here until Zodiark is dead. There is no escape from weird fishman thing. I have no idea why it's a weird fishman thing. I should have slowed the game speed down before we came in here. So this is why you want a solo person in the party when you come in here. He starts the fight with Darkja. There's literally no reason to put your whole party out here and then get hit by this, because it does, as you can see, a decent chunk of damage. He's healing himself, god dang it. We're just gonna let Bosch die, so it'll take a second here. It does a decent chunk of damage, but it also has a decent chance of instantaneously killing everyone in your party, or at least some of the people in your party. So Bosch has done his job. We will now swap in the main party and get this underway. Now, note, it is weak to holy. The damage we're doing right now is going to be huge because of its weakness to holy. This is the thing with Zodiark. It doesn't have a lot of health. It also has reflect damage, I forgot to mention that. A relatively high value reflect damage as well, unfortunately. But regardless, this is the deal with Zodiark. There's limit break, by the way, so here comes the damage output whenever it feels like casting. If you can burn Zodiark down, this fight becomes much, much easier. If you cannot burn Zodiark down, it is now immune to magic because we dispelled it. That's fine. If you can't burn it down, it's going to start spamming out Darkja, which is going to be a bit of a problem, but it appears that we are going to be able to just burn it down. So I'm swapping out my stuff so that we have non-elemental weapons. Where is... It was at the top, wasn't it? Of course it's at the top. Why wouldn't it be at the top, you doofus? We appear to be capable of burning it down, so this fight shouldn't be too hard, unless this Darkja kills the entire party. Once it hits low health, it starts using Darkja more often. It straight up killed Fran, but it nearly killed the other two. This is the purpose of the limit break. Now, at this point, well actually before this point, when Zodiark makes itself immune to magic damage, you should, as the person trying to fight Zodiark, use a quickening chain. If you do not use a quickening chain, you must then tank him. As you can see, the damage he does is ridiculous. You must then tank him while he is immune to physical damage, or, if possible, burn him down with non-elemental magic. You can use elemental magic, but we have no idea as the player what his element is, and there's a risk with letting the gambits run wild because they will, they might just murder you because he has reflect up sometimes, so you need to be careful with that. But at this point in the fight, your biggest worry is just his pure damage output. If you don't have bubble, he's going to kill you, period. There's no way around it. And Darkja, just straight up killing people like that. As I said, if you do not have bubble, he will kill you. You cannot get around that. He does too much damage, and it is not possible to get your party members all up to 10k health, because he does, what is it, 9k with Darkja and Banish Ray, I think is what it's called, Banishing Ray, whatever it is. But for the purposes of this video, I am just going to tank him as best I can here so that you guys can see exactly what he does here. He's going to keep refreshing his magic ward anyway, because I dispelled him earlier, so we can't really do any damage to him. This is why you don't want to dispel him, because if you dispel him, you can't kill him now. So and that's the worst case scenario that just happened, so we're going to do this actually. So what happened there is that RNG said fuck you. Essentially what occurred was, let's see if we can get everyone up in time here. Essentially what occurred was Darkja rolled the dice and killed everybody in our party with its percent chance of doing so. It always has, well, Nello's dead, 11.5k. You see what I mean? Really hard to tank that without bubble. She's dead too, 12k. We may not be able to pick this up very easily, so. Because we lost too many people. Magic Shield goes down. He will refresh it, don't worry about that. Please stop killing people. Let's double speed it. He'll cast Darkja again in a second here, so we need to get our bubbles up, preferably ASAP. You can use, there's also that, unfortunately. 2 people got bubble. Fran's dead. There's no way around that, but his physical paling is down, so we can now deal actual damage to him occasionally. Assuming the entire party doesn't die again, which is a possibility. Ash is still alive, briefly. Unfortunately, the Phoenix Down did not go off, so we get to do this. Which is probably not going to end too well. Yet there's the game over screen. So there you go. So this is why you don't want to dispel him. Because bad things happen when he starts using Darkja for too long. That is really the only difficulty with this fight, is Darkja. If you get lucky and keep your party members up, let's see where the autosave is. It's in the special charter shaft, which I think is just at the start of the area. If you can RNG your way through Darkja, then you should be able to tank the rest of the fight, as long as you have bubble and shell and well, you don't need protect, just shell. Shell is fine. Because otherwise you're gonna have a bad day. But if you're in my scenario, where the game hates you and kills your entire party with Darkja, you kind of just have to struggle your way through. So don't dispel it, preferably, so that he doesn't put up the magic paling and you can then deal some damage to him when he's low health and try and burn the boss down. I have to make my way back over to Zodiark, so I will see you guys when we get back into the fight. And this time we're gonna do it the way you properly should, except we don't have black masks, so I won't have that. But You know, you as the player might have black masks to make it easier, but I'll be back in just a second. Alrighty, here we are back at the arena for another round. We're gonna do this in a strategy that I normally don't employ, but I'm actually curious if it works. We're gonna skip this because we've already seen it. Walk Balthier forward and watch him fall over. As is tradition when you do Zodiark fight, you always have to sacrifice someone at the very start. Because there's basically a 50% chance they will just die anyway, so may as well just kill them off at the start there. Alright. Let us attempt to employ this strategy. First off, Ashe already has her buffs. Everyone in the party already has their buffs. We're going to take some Bashu's wine and actually throw it at Ashe. Ashe's job is going to be beat the dickens out of literally everything. And by literally everything, I mean the singular enemy that's over here. So she's going to theoretically do a boatload of damage very, very, very quickly, as you can see. The downside is I have no control over her. So while we're doing this, she will not assist with any healing or buffing or anything else. We're just trying to burn its health down really fast here. Now, what you should properly do here, we're gonna do it this time, is actually have everyone in the party with holy elemental weapons preferably. Go in with 2 people buffed with bravery and berserk and have them beat the dickens out of Zodiark while the other one can keep up healing. And that will actually usually allow you to kill him before he puts up any palings is the correct word. Which means you can very, very quickly burn down Zodiark before he becomes a problem. Unfortunately, because Ashe is still berserk, she will not help me with the quickening chain, so I'm just trying to burst its health down a little bit here with the chain. Just like every other time I record anything with a quickening chain in it, I'm gonna cut it out so you guys don't have to sit with me.
It ends now.
Alrighty, that wasn't a very long chain, so it's not going to do a huge chunk of damage, but it should be a little bit of an extra burst for our damage output here. Now, he will become immune to physical soon. He is already immune to magic because we dispelled him. That was not nearly enough. Curious, actually. Hold on. We're going to do something that is going to seem very strange on paper here. We're going to throw a Dispel mode at Ashe, for one, which has a pretty high chance of straight up killing her. But it will make her no longer berserk, and then we're going to pop another quickening chain, hopefully before he makes himself immune to physical, which he is not, and hopefully we can get this one long enough. Again, I'm going to cut this out. It's just a quickening chain, you guys don't need to watch.
Believe.
Alright, quickening chain's ending. I almost managed to get a 16th hit, which may have continued it even further, but not quite enough time on the bar. Surprisingly didn't get Black Hole with 15 hits. I guess I didn't get enough grade or rank 3s or level 3 quickenings or whatever you want to call it, but see what sort of damage this does. Not quite enough. I think it may have already used Shift. I'm not sure. It has not, it just used Shift. So we need to change Ashe's weapon before she does anything. So the Ragnarok. And then we're going to have Ashe continue hitting Zodiark, hopefully before it makes itself immune. It's using Darkja. I did not plan for this. I planned for it to die. If Darkja kills everyone, I swear to God, I'm gonna be real mad. What did I tell you? If Darkja kills everyone, there's not Mega Phoenixes in this game, are there? There's, I probably already used it, so. Alright, If you can get another Phoenix down off, that would be fantastic, but I don't expect him to be able to. Well, it's using Battle Cry, so maybe. Unfortunately, she's dead. That's fine. We just need to get Vaughn out of the party here. There we go. And see if we can pick this back up. It is no longer immune to magic, but it has hit itself with Reflect. Is it immune to physical yet? It is indeed immune to physical, and Scathe is about to murder 2 people, so... 3 people, never mind. Swear to God. I don't think we're going to be able to pick this one back up, which makes me moderately irritated. Because we got so close. We got so far, but in the end it didn't even matter. He's dead, isn't he? But in the end it didn't even matter. No. Right, so it's probably going to use Darkja again, which is just going to kill everyone anyway. I would like people to cease dying, preferably. It doesn't seem like that's going to be available for us. I'm mad because Fran is dead. And Penelo can't tank this, so she's gonna be dead in a second here. I'm just mad in general. So there goes her, which means Bosch is the only one left. You're our only hope, buddy. Let's get Fran up. Ow. Bosch is definitely going to die. He can't even tank the auto attacks. This is the downside of not leveling. He's gonna throw a Phoenix Stone at someone that's already getting up, so that's kind of null and void. Not leveling multiple parties is you end up in situations like this where you can't pick it back up because you just don't have the party members to do it, so. I'm gonna try and keep sort of spread away from everyone. Does it have Reflect? It should have Reflect, yeah. And we're going to attempt to do something here. So we're going to change you to... It's a ring of some, right? Opal ring? Opal ring. And Ashy here is going to attempt her best at killing Zodiark with Flare. Preferably. Rapidly, preferably. But I don't think it's going to do a huge amount of damage here. 7k, not too bad. Unfortunately, she's dead now. See if Penelo can pick herself back up before she gets hit. She did. I think Ash is dead again, though. Hopefully Darkja doesn't kill the whole party. Welcome to this fight, by the way. It's RNG. If Darkja didn't have a chance of killing your entire party half of the time, it would be a far easier fight. I gave Fran the Gendarme if you're curious, but giving her a black mask would accomplish the same thing because it would make her immune to dark damage, so. For all intents and purposes, it is identical in terms of usefulness. Ash. You do not have time to buff. Just kill it, please, for the love of all that is holy, or unholy in this case. Alright, there we go. Dear God. Giving Fran a black mask would do the exact same thing as Gendarme in this case, because all it does is absorb the dark damage from Darkja. It does not make you immune to the death from Darkja. Anyway, welcome to Zodiark. Zodiark is a bullshit fight, full of RNG, and I hate it. Your best bet is to, once it puts up the magic palling, burn it a little tiny bit more, and then cast a quickening chain on it. Preferably one long enough to kill it, but if you can get it at least low enough, you can then burn its health down with a couple more auto attacks before it puts up the physical palling. Also, don't dispel it, because that makes it put up a magic palling, which makes things a lot more difficult, but, you know, trade-offs here and there. If you don't dispel it, it has its buffs, which makes the rest of the fight more difficult because everything hits harder, etc., etc. But anyway, that's that. This goes back the way we came, but this way, is there treasure in here? I don't think there is. Doesn't appear to be. This way will lead to a gate that does not work. Apparently, you have to poke it from that side, but I was confused why it wouldn't let me open it. But now we have a quick access to that part over there, so we can quickly get a special charter shaft. And also, I'll go ahead and show it to you before we end this video, because it is technically related to Zodiark. There's a lot of blizzard going on here. Great. So we head this way. Ignore all the bollocks over here. Don't press the switch because death occurs if you press that switch. Hello, my bat-based friend. Come here, we must fight you. Probably use a better weapon than the ones we're using, but that's okay. So now, can't go that way because I didn't flip the switch, but now we have access to and from the Feywood from the Hene Mines, because when you, I don't know what my voice did there, when you defeat Zodiark, it clears out the path here because there's actually a tossed over train, not a car, coal car? I don't know what they're called, leave me alone. Minecart, there we go. I'm a genius. All right. It removes that so you can get to and from the Feywood very easily, and all is well and good. But that is it for this video, and that is actually it for all of the Espers. As I said, Zodiark is the final Esper, so look, my god, that map. There is no more Espers. There are still a few things to do, but those will be in different videos. So thanks for watching, see you guys next time.